World Champs is the biggest comp of the season. Everything I've done for this year and last year in training, everything I've visualised is like World Champs, becoming World Champion, training so I can perform at this competition. So in my mind, it's the most important comp of the year.
I'm going to be going to the Moscow World Championships, which is my first ever senior World Championships. So that's incredibly exciting. It'll be my first ever senior boulder competition as well. So it's a pretty big one to go in on. So yeah, it means a lot because for the first time ever, I'm going into it with confidence. Like I feel like I can beat everyone there.
So it's pretty exciting to get to go to the World Champs, especially this year when we've sort of struggled to get to a lot of competitions. So just like any comp we get to go to is really exciting.
We are a competition-focused climbing team. We coach a group of athletes that largely perform nationally and internationally. It hasn't always been that way. We've had a pathway since 2013, which started with some very junior athletes, and well, they're now heading out to their first World Championships.
My first World Champs I did was in Innsbruck, I think maybe 3 years ago, and because I wasn't that experienced that comp, it was just sort of another World Cup for me. It was just a chance to go and compete and do my best, whereas I guess this year I've done a few World Cups now. I did a full season 2019, so yeah, this year the World Champs feels like a bit more of a big deal, a big event, a little bit different to just another World Cup round.
This is my first senior World Championships. I've competed at 3 youth World Champs before. For me, what's different is obviously I'm against way better people and older people, the best in the world, but personally my climbing is just evolved and I've got so much better. I think I would have, when I was youth, I was like, oh, going to these big competitions would be scary, but I feel way more calm, excited and ready for these events than I did for juniors. I think that could be because I've got a good coaching system now, I'm training, I live with Hamish, I've got everything's just lining up perfectly and stress-free.
Biggest difference for me between a senior and a youth event at the moment is that in a youth event, I know exactly where I stand. I go into it expecting to be the best. Where in a senior competition, I haven't done so many, so I don't know exactly where I stand. There's a bit more uncertainty there, which in some ways increases the pressure, as I know I've really got to bring my A game in order to win. But in some ways, it's my first ever World Championship, so no one's really looking at me thinking, this guy's got to win it. So yeah, I feel like I just got to go out and do my best, and no one really cares what happens apart from me, and obviously I'm wanting to win.
I think my biggest challenge going into Moscow, I think there's a lot of little things you got to get right, so it's just mentally just being the most present I can be, because that's where I perform the best. At British Boulder Championships, I felt untouchable.
He seems on a very confident streak now at the moment.
It's like the Chuck Norris of climbing.
And I wasn't thinking about failing or winning. I was just in the back of my mind, subconsciously, I was I am going to win.
Max Milne, British Bouldering Champion 2021. One of many goals that guy has. Fantastic to see him smashing it.
Going into Moscow, it's filled me with a lot of confidence, because I know that mindset I was in there was optimal for my performance, and I know all the little things I did so I can get there fast, and tap into that again and try and I'm not going to try and force it, but I know all the things I did there, I'm going to bring that into this championships, and it's going to be good.
Something that drastically changes just from the actual physical coaching side of things when coming into a competition is that everything becomes much more kind of reactive on a day-to-day. A long way out, you've got nice long distance projections and things like that, but working with the guys within, the last weeks and months coming into a competition, a lot more stuff is chatting to them day to day, seeing where they're at, and then kind of essentially doing the best thing on that day. And there's a lot more kind of like psychological work, just
the
generally
phone doesn't start
fine-tuning.
ringing. Constant.
Exactly. My philosophy for coaching for the Moscow World Championships is that the athletes need to be self-sufficient. That's kind of been a theme of this year. The changes in the rules and changes in the landscape have meant that the athletes are not able to just rely on themselves for the climbing part and rely on other people to do lots of other parts of it. They have to go into their warm-up. They need to know exactly what that looks like. They're not going to have someone there saying, do this, do that, do the other. They've got to, basically, we've got to make as many parts of it as autonomous as possible in training, so that when they get to the competition, they can do the bits that don't really need too much thought as autonomously as possible, so they can focus on climbing on the wall. So philosophically, that's shifted quite a bit in the last year, because
It's had to.
it's had to.
The biggest challenge for me is like staying really confident up to the event and like really believing in that I've like prepped the best I can. So I just try and have loads of fun sessions in like the last couple of weeks leading up to the comp, and yeah, just enjoy my sessions, do loads of fun moves, and then I guess when it gets to the comp, try and like remember times that I've done well and what I did there and things like that. But it is something I find challenging, and I've not mastered it yet.
In trainings, I'm always thinking, how would I be if this was a competition scenario? I put myself in the position. And then mental tactics wise, there's not too much you can do until you're actually at the event for me. As long as you're in a sound mental state when you go and you feel confident, you feel ready, which I do at the moment, there's not too much. But then there probably will be some mind games with the other competitors. And like with Max, he doesn't know, but I've been playing mind games on him for about a year now. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see how he does.
So I've obviously been training like all year for various events and things, but because this is World Champs, I will have like a big peak for this event. So since coming back from, I think, Salt Lake, I had a little break, and then it was like just sort of building towards this event, especially as we weren't able to go to the other events in the summer.
After winning boulder and lead at the Youth World Championships, I know exactly where I am in terms of my personal performance. I'm the best I've ever been, and I'm beating people who are, World Cup finalists.
Are we going to see a top? We are, from Hamish McArthur. What a performance! One armour at the end, why not? Huge cheer to the crowd.
My category at the youth is very good. Like, there's a lot of people in there who make senior finals consistently. In my category, there's Olympians, there's World Cup winners. So I think for me, it's definitely been a positive influence on my climbing, knowing that against all of those people at the moment in time, I'm a level above them. So I just need to go and translate that onto a senior stage and not get too freaked out by the event and the magnitude of it all. Although at the moment, I don't feel the pressure, I don't get too nervous. I feel there's a lot of subconscious nerves that can come out when it's your first big event. So for me, the biggest challenge is just going to be able to overcome that and feel like I'm really at home in the competition, like I belong there, like I deserve to be there, which I definitely do. So I just need to keep reminding myself of that and why I'm there.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Moscow. After a week of climbing and a season of comps, everything came to an end in a magical night in Moscow.
the whole week of being in Moscow was one of the funnest trips I've had. Being with Hamish, just taking the mick the whole week and just having fun was insane. The competition as itself, bouldering, I climbed well. There was a lot of things I did wrong. The result is not what I wanted. Leading up to the comp, I didn't feel too ready, and then it switched and I felt good. And when I was competing, warming up, I was like, this is good. I feel good, I'm ready, I'm calm. And then I came out, flashed the first block, and in my mind I was like, I'm on a roll, like this is gonna be it. And then I dropped the match on the second block in the last move on the next block. And I false started twice in the boulder round, which is not good. So I think that shows that mentally my mind wasn't there. I was thinking too far ahead about winning because I know I'm capable of doing really well. So that was the biggest thing I need to take away. It was a good comp, and if you can learn, it's a good comp. But obviously, I was quite frustrated at the time. I'm phoning Mark and Ellie. I'm like, I did so shit. And they're like, you didn't, look what you did. Like, I did 2 blocks. I kept my head for the 4th block, and then I dropped 2 last moves. There's a lot of things that are bad, so change them, and then that's good. So that's my mindset. It was alright. I had a lot of fun. It could have been way better, but I wasn't. So it's back to training.
Moscow went pretty well. Like, I don't know, I found it quite a frustrating comp for me. Like I did 2 boulders that I was really pleased with, and then just felt like I was a bit rushed on the others and maybe like lost my head a little bit. Like things I'd got really well rehearsed at the start of the season just didn't happen this time. I think like knowing it was the last comp or the last boulder comp of the season and stuff, and then it was World Champs, there was a bit of like desperation to do well. Which got to my head. But there was definitely like a lot of positives.
Moscow World Championships, my first ever World Championships. Went into it kind of not knowing exactly where I stand, but having a good idea. So the lead comp, the qualification, you have 2 routes to climb and you get to watch people on it. And I ended up in 2nd place after the qualifiers, joint highest on one of the routes, and then a couple places off on the other route. And then the semi-final round was a wild experience for me because I was coming out really late because you climb in reverse order. So because I qualified in 2nd or 3rd, I was out right at the end. And I topped the route. Like I wasn't really expecting it. From the ground, it looked like such a difficult route. And I topped the route. I put like a massive fight in on it. I tried so hard. I was power screaming my way up it. And I was the only person to top the route. So I went into finals in 1st place, which was again just a crazy experience. Like I wouldn't have dreamed that I'd be in that position before the competition.
And there is Hamish McArthur. I mean, that man has got to be feeling some pressure. He's 19.
That's wild. So psyched for him. Really cool to see.
I actually saw him down in the lobby just before I got a taxi over here. And he wandered down, and his coach was like, have you got your shoes? Have you got your chalk? He was like, yeah, all good. He doesn't seem fazed by this.
I know, that's the right mindset. That's where you want to be, just calm and relaxed.
In the finals, I knew that I just had to top the route to win the comp, to be the world champion.
Well, look, we know Jakob Schubert is on top due to countback. He's leading the way. The only man that can beat him is that man there, Hamish McArthur.
Oh, I've got high hopes.
Yeah, I mean, he's got real potential here. If he gets this, he will be a triple world champion. He got 2 medals in the Youth World Championships a couple of weeks ago in Voronezh.
Yeah, and that's a hard jump to understate. From Youth World Champion is incredibly difficult to achieve on its own, and then to Open World Champion, that's as good as it gets.
final few seconds of the men's season here. Watch those feet. Pressing, he'll have a moment to shake out, and look, that is everything, isn't it? He knows what this means in this moment. Yeah, none of us can look right now. Hamish McArthur is a couple of moves away. Shaking out that left hand all the time. I hope his right's all right.
Yeah. I need to shake out my hands. They are soaking wet right now.
Me too. And what's crazy is he's sitting in 7th position and he's a couple of moves away. Like, it's close, this.
It is, coming down to the wire for sure.
Can he keep it together? 57 seconds on the clock, but now he needs to come. Oh, reaching out.
Yeah, he needs to drop down under that foot. Yeah, he's getting closer, but now we'll have to match the foot.
This will be a moment that he will look back on throughout his career. He can move from 7th up to gold or a podium place in the next couple of seconds. Crosses through. Foot stretching, now he drops down, comes out. Has Hamish got anything left? Comes into the side pull, looking in control at the moment. Thumb on the top with a pinch. Into the first crimp, he's 2 moves away from winning the World Championships. Left hand up, he's 1 move, 1 jump away from a gold medal. Hamish McArthur goes, misses the top. Fractions, millimeters away.
All I had to do was top the route, and I fell on the last move with the last hold in my hand. It was a jump to the last hole, and I just missed it. My foot slipped at the last second. So I was totally down on myself for like a couple minutes afterwards, because I really, really wanted that top and wanted to be crowned world champion at my first ever World Championships. But I ended up in 3rd position, which in hindsight, I'm super proud of. Like, it feels like, an amazing position to be in. I'm just so grateful to have had all this luck and to put all this work in and for it to pay off. It was a pretty wild experience, honestly, being up there with my heroes and beating a lot of them. So yeah, it was great. I'm not disappointed anymore. Yeah.
Un mur homologué pour ces grandes compétitions, et également pour la vitesse d'ailleurs que nous vivrons ensemble demain, Nico. Un espace multifonction ici, dont nous vivons la semaine inaugurale, avec dans cette salle, il y a 3 salles différentes, mais dans cette salle ici, la salle Pégase, Max Milne,
plutôt un spécialiste du bloc qui a fait... Allez, s'il prend la prochaine prise, il va prendre la tête. Et là, par contre, maintenant, c'est une section où il va falloir de l'endurance. Ouais, il prend la tête en tout cas, et il se laisse un bel espoir de pouvoir monter sur le podium.
Bravo Maximilian Milne, superbe spectacle, belle détermination chez ce jeune homme.
Like, this is a little taste of what I can do, I feel. I've got like bets on with people for 2023 season and all this stuff, which is just a bit of fun. But next year I wanna do the whole season, and I wanna make finals in boulder consistently, get into lead finals, and by the end of the season I wanna make a podium in boulder for sure. And then 2023 is I wanna win a World Cup. Leading into Olympics. That's the big goal. It makes sense. There's a linear progression as well. It might come quicker or it might come slower than I plan. Just like, you gotta be flexible with your plans, but it's gonna happen. The season, there's been highs and lows, but it's been good. Like, I've been frustrated at times with a few niggles here and there, but I've dealt with them. Now I've got a coach, and he helps me deal with them, maintain my body and my mind. I've been learning from it, and then through Taoism, that's a book I've been reading. taking bad opportunities and then learning from them. That allows it to become a good opportunity. So that's how I'm going to try and look at the year and learn that to get better. But yeah, I just want to do the whole season next year, and I hope I get the opportunity because I want to win. I want to be world champ and Olympic champion. I'm going to be, so I got to start making these mistakes and keep learning and getting better and better. So I just feel like I need more opportunity to do that.
So this season's been a bit weird. It's felt like really long without actually having that many comps. So I think it's been difficult to get into the flow of it. I was really pleased with how it started, like out in Salt Lake for that first comp of the year, and you know, I felt really confident on the mats and just excited to be there because we'd had that big break, and I think that worked really well for my head, and I probably climbed the best I've climbed in a comp. Just managed to sort of get out and try really hard, and ended up coming 21st, like one attempt off semis, which still really annoys me, but I think it's been a good like driver for training. I guess like the lowest points have just been when it's not gone to plan and you just know like what, or you don't know when the next comp's going to be or whether it's going to get cancelled. Like we found out in Russia that Korea was cancelled. We were supposed to be there like the week after, so that was a bit of a blow. Like, you know, when you think you've got another chance and then it's just taken away from you.
This season, you're right, it's been very unpredictable. There's been a lot of massive highs and a lot of massive lows for me. The highs, I think the biggest high would be winning boulder at the Youth World Championships. My first ever gold medal in a big competition. And just the moment when I knew I'd won, it was unbelievable. Like, you can see there's pictures of it, and just the like passion and excitement in my face says it all really. That was the high, and obviously winning lead as well, and then third at the World Championships. All came in very quick succession. So on the surface, it looks like my year has just been full of these amazing moments, but in reality, there's been quite a lot of disappointment early on in the year. Mainly with competitions being cancelled or not getting selected for World Cups earlier on in the season. Like the World Cups in Salt Lake City, I really wanted to be at, but I didn't qualify for it. And then, like soon after that, I was selected for other World Cups in Innsbruck and Meiringen, but then they were cancelled. But GB team had to withdraw from them. So that was, for me, a real low, because I've been training so hard in lockdown, and I just feel like I'm at the point that I could compete, and then it was just taken away from me time and time again, like at the start of the year. So it made the wins even more special and taste even better, just because it felt like I was so relieved to finally be competing, and then I was also at the same time proving to everyone who, like, what I've been doing for the last year, and that I'm not going to be, dissuaded by all these drawbacks at the start of the year.
It's been a challenging year kind of physically, in as much as getting to the competitions has been very hard, and kind of there's far more steps that they have to go through. Emotionally, it's been very challenging because as a whole, we've not gone to lots of the competitions that maybe lots of our competitors have. And the guys have had to kind of, keep re-evaluating what it is they are able to do. But then when we have had the opportunity, like World Juniors only a few weeks ago, they've really stepped up and they've managed to perform regardless of those kind of hurdles.
Coaching through the pandemic has been really interesting. Whilst obviously the pandemic itself has been a very bad thing, our coaching experience has had there are a lot of positives that we can take away from it. It's forced us to really reassess how we go about our day-to-day business, and given us the opportunity to make things better, really. We've gone from having a group of athletes that were having to navigate going to school, going to college, going to work whilst trying to train as athletes. And all of a sudden overnight we gained a team of full-time athletes. So their progression we've seen a marked increase in the last 12 months, and we've had the opportunity to build what we do.
I think the biggest thing that I've learned from this season is to enjoy the moment, whatever it is. Like you can see in the finals, I walk out and I'm smiling at the World Championships, and that's not just in that moment, for the whole trip, basically. I mean, I'm just having a good time. I'm enjoying being in the coolest cities, you know. I'm making very sure that I'm not taking it for granted. Like the opportunity is there, but it doesn't have to be. Like and it's not going to be there forever. So I'm just really soaking everything up and just making the most of every moment. And then in terms of my climbing, the biggest thing that I've noticed, I think, is I climb best whilst enjoying the moment as well. So it all ties together. While I'm smiling, whilst I'm relaxed and happy, is when I perform my best and I can flow and I feel the strongest. So now is a couple weeks after the World Championships, and I haven't climbed since then. I climbed once yesterday. So I just needed that time to psychologically recover from all the stress of the season. Like in that time period, I did absolutely nothing but like watch Netflix and sleep. So yeah, that's what I think I really need at the end of a busy season. But now training starts again, and I have a refreshed mindset. I'm hungry again, and, I'm enjoying training and pushing myself. And then I'm going to try and get outdoors a fair bit as well and just help reset that way, have a good time, do some hard stuff, do some fun stuff, and just keep it fresh and keep the psych high, really.
At the end of the season, I'm going to Klimnos. I can't flipping wait. It's like my favourite place in the world. I think I will retire there in like 5 years probably. But it's a really nice place to like unwind but still keep climbing. I think after that I will take a bit of a proper break. I've like not really done that before, but it has just felt like a little bit of a slog, this one. So I'll probably have sort of 2 weeks off, maybe a couple of just fun sessions and some running and stuff. Just mix it up, actually rest. And next season I'm gonna flip and make a semi-final. It's about time. I feel like I've just been close so many times. So yeah, next year I'm going to do it. I'm hoping to do a little bit more lead as well next season. So I'll do the full boulder season. Let's hope it goes ahead as normal, and then bring some lead in later on. So I guess this winter my training will include like a lot more endurance. Like I need to get that base endurance that I can then tap back into next summer. So yeah, I'll probably start that mid-November or something after a little break, and then just grind it out till April.
So next year, I've spoken to my coaches and we decided my biggest goal is to try and win the overall lead competition. So that means going to every lead World Cup and boulder, obviously, but the big focus is going to be on winning the overall lead. So that'll obviously entail winning some World Cups in between. And I want to do the same in boulder. I want to make boulder finals and podium there, hopefully win there. I think that's harder to come up and win straight away in boulder, but if anyone's going to do it, I feel like it can be me. So that's the big goal. And to get there, I just need to really put my head down this winter and just get training, really. Just work on the weaknesses which I'm identifying with my coach, and then keep that same mindset, that hungry mindset of really, really wanting to win, but also having appreciation for the opportunity and going out there and having fun, and then hopefully getting some medals. But that's kind of secondary to the enjoying myself, and I need to maintain that healthy perspective, I think, over the winter. It's easy to get sucked in to just focusing on winning golds when you get close to it. Like now I feel like I could go one of two ways, but I'm going to make sure that I train my ass off, but also go into it with an open mind and ready for whatever comes.
I'm literally just going to head down, come away from the world and just go insane and compete or train and do the best I can do in the gym, and then come out of winter training a different person, basically, a new version. the focus I feel is just doing my job, which is to do boulders and do lead routes. Like, I'm gonna just try and get a master of my craft and just do everything I can to get the best I can be for next year.